All right, well, I definitely don't want to keep anyone longer than the allotted time. And we have a bit to go through. This presentation, both the recording of this presentation and my slides will be made available on the website. Specifically, this website, aapgh.org/proposals. A lot of what we'll go through today is from this website. Of course, I'll be adding a little bit more context, a little bit more detail, but a lot of the information is directly from here from the website. So I want to take a moment quickly and thank our supporters of Associated Artists, specifically our financial supporters, the Heinz Endowments, Hellman Foundation, the Allegheny Regional Asset District, Arts Equity and Education Fund, the Fine Foundation, and the state of Pennsylvania, as well as our 2024 annual fund donors. Without their support, our 2024 season would not be possible, but we're getting ready for our upcoming season, so let's jump into those. So you're all here for this, for our call for proposals. It's live now. It's been live since June 15th, and it runs until August 1st. You'll see at August 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the last moment you can hit submit and get it in. So you have up until that period to get your proposal in. We are looking for proposals right now for 3 specific exhibitions periods or slots: September 6th to October 31st, 2025, May 1st through June 12th, 2026, September 12th to October 30th, 2026. So those 3 times. Those dates might change a little bit, might flex a little bit here or there, and we might have another opening or something to, figure something else out. But those are the 3 that we know now for sure that we are looking for proposals from our members. For our members, for the AAP members, you were sent a link via email for a free application. It is free for members to apply. Sometimes often you want to apply with a solo show, and you want to apply with a group show, or you want to apply with a juried show, and you want to apply with a group show. So we've opened a second application. That additional second application does cost $25. We've also opened that additional second application up to non-members for $25 as well. Key here is that this show must feature AAP artists. So if you are an artist who's looking to have a show here at AAP and you are not a member, this isn't that channel. You come in through membership. You come in through screening, which we do annually, and then these proposals are open for you. But if you are, say, a local independent curator or another nonprofit that wants to partner with us on something, this would be perfect for that. With the idea that we are featuring our member artists. We are a membership artist organization that and our members are who we focus on, who we feature first. And then the space. So we're in the office space right now, but the space is Associated Artists of Pittsburgh. We're at Ice House Studios in Lawrenceville, so definitely come and check us out. So the application itself is between 2 and 4 parts, depending on the exhibit type. There are 2 things that are required within every application. The first is an online form, which we will go through, pretty basic. The second is a PDF, a written proposal putting your exhibition out there in a little bit more detail. There's a 5-page limit on the PDF written proposal, but I will note, as I have in here, just because it can be 5 pages doesn't mean it should be 5 pages. So if you think that you have to get the 5 pages in to show like how committed you are, you have to fill it. No. Just take the space that you need to explain the type of show that you want to organize, whether that takes 1 page, whether that takes 5 pages, depends. The additional parts of the application that vary depending on your show are a second PDF, again, a 5-page max of images. Now, if you are proposing a juried show, a show where we have an open call from which a juror selects online through SlideRoom, you wouldn't have images. So you wouldn't have this component. But if you are proposing an exhibition of your work, you're working on a body of work, a la Senta Nicole Zabinski and Senta Schumacher, who did Cutting Holes for Eyes, and they were exchanging work back and forth. Then you would submit images, maybe there, the works that you have ready to go, and maybe some sketches of works that aren't quite ready yet, or images of works in progress. And then finally, that fourth component is if there's something in the budget that you want beyond the scope of AAP, that is something you would include there. So say you're like, I'd really love to have a series of performances, close friends with, an artist group like Slow Danger or Stacy Pearl or whomever, come in and engage the work in X, Y, and Z ways. Therefore, there will be needed a stipend of some sort or something like that. That might be where this fourth PDF, this additional expenses above and beyond. Now that, again, that's not guaranteed that we can support that financially, but that's a conversation to be had. So all these images down below are from artist proposed show. On the left, we have Mary Culbertson Starks, drawn from experience. It was basically an almost 40-year survey of her work, as from the earliest piece was when she was in high school, up until recent work that was created that year in 2022. Next to it, this group of individuals sitting around a table was a performance piece at Brent Nakamoto's Plain Silk Uncarved Wood. This is an exhibition featuring Asian and Asian American artists living and working in Pittsburgh. Annie Chen did a performance piece where she served individuals food. The third image is Nicole Sapinski and Santa Schumacher show that I just mentioned. And this last, a solo image or a solo exhibition of work by artist Wade Cram. So getting into this application a bit more. Each proposal application should include and or address the following. Now, there are different ways to do this, which this might be the questions that you all have, but it should include and or address the following: the curatorial concept and proposed layout design. So the curatorial concept is that basic idea of the show. What is the show about? Is it an open juried call just to see artwork that members made in the last 2 months? Is it a show that's getting at, such as with Kathleen Zimbicki's show, the artwork that's created around politics, specifically through the lens of the election? Is it a show about, you've been a teaching artist for 40 years? Is it a show about a partnership you've had with another artist? That basic concept, that basic idea, getting at it, that's your curatorial concept. And then your proposed layout design. This can literally be the proposed design of your show. When you go to the website, to aapgh.org/proposals, on the page itself, and if you scroll down, available to download, is a gallery map of our space. So you can use that. You can use a similar drawing of that to literally lay out your show. Some people do this with words, some people do this with images, but that idea of this is what I think the show will look like. We really, truly encourage you to use that floor plan. It's super helpful. It gives the exhibition committee a chance to assess kind of where you're at, what you're thinking, where you're going to go, allows them to have spaces for questions. Oh, this doesn't seem like it's quite enough work. Because if you just give us one wall, oftentimes that's the question mark. Or if you give us a list of 100 works, it's like, have they seen the space? Do they think it's all going to fit? So putting it actually into the space and taking that little bit of effort. Again, it doesn't have to be too sophisticated. It can literally be you writing on the piece of paper, taking a picture of it and scanning it and uploading it to us. You're going to include your preferred exhibition date. That preferred date is not guaranteed, and the dates are subject to change as mentioned. You're going to include artwork identifying information. This is the title of the piece, the artist of the piece, I should say, the title, dimensions. We go height, width, depth here. Now, if you have a two-dimensional work, such as a painting in a frame, you won't include depth there, even though like some of you have rather hefty frames that come off the wall a little bit. We don't need that, 1 inch, 2 inch off the wall, but rather that's for a sculptural work. Medium, year of creation, and price. For future work, for an exhibition you're proposing of a body of work that you're working on, you want to provide potential or probable identifying information. I think this piece is going to be this big, or this piece is this big. I think I'm going to be painting it with oils. And in that case, you will know if a work is completed or proposed or just still in that planning stage. If you are proposing a juried show, or if you are proposing to serve as a jury, please provide a potential guidance for selection. So, again, a default to Kathleen Zimbicki's show that she proposed for us, where she said, we're going to look at politics. It's the election year. Here are thoughts on potential jurors. What do you all think? The idea is to have this in the show. So a little bit more information there, but you wouldn't necessarily have the artwork identifying information for that. Again, each of the proposals should include the following images of the work if you have them. You're going to upload these via that PDF packet, that third thing that was on that list. If it's proposed work, you'll provide the sketch. You won't have it for juried shows, but this is a separate upload on SlideRoom. Exhibiting artist names, not applicable again for juried shows, but the idea that we are going to have a list of the artists that'll be there in this show. Note that again, this space is truly meant for AAP member artists. So shows that do not predominantly, maybe just dominantly feature current AAP members will not be considered. And you go, Madeline, how do I know who a current member is? And we'll put this link on. It's linked in the proposals. But if you go under membership, we have a whole membership directory ready to go. You come to AAP events, you look at previous AAP shows. These are our AAP members. And then, of course, the main contact. Who is it? Our lead artist? Is it a curator? Is it a juror? Is it a lead artist and curator? Is it a lead artist and juror? Those can obviously overlap. So that additional thing that I mentioned around the lines of budgeting, that fourth thing that you may or may not upload, right? You might not have this here. This is the idea of the budget, right? This is on the screen now is something that you can go, if you guys can see me, and download from the aapgh.org/proposals. And this is all there for you all to consider and look at closely. So again, gallery, it's like these are all the expenses I have to think about when I'm putting together an exhibition. So gallery attendance, we cover that cost. Juror curatorial fees, varying on the size of the show and the type of the show. For example, if you're a curator and you're an artist in the show and you're also curating it, you might get a stipend as an artist and a curator, so $250. However, you're the curator, you're curating all these artists, you're doing studio visits, that $500 might be what goes. This is the variant that you'll see. For how that's determined, AAP has signed a wage standards document that's available at the Visual Arts Coalition for Equity website, where it breaks down the levels of how those artist stipends or curatorial stipends are paid. So that's all there. We can link that on this website as well. Design. This is that marketing and promotional materials. This is that vinyl that we put up on the wall. This is that post you see on Instagram or on Facebook. This is the banner on the website. We do that internally. We've obviously had artists do that previously, and we're more than willing to work with you and take that into consideration. For example, I know Brent designed his for plain silk uncarved wood. But we take on that cost. Install, AAP takes on that cost. We have had the instance where some artists have installed their shows. And when that happens, we pay the artists who are installing their shows. Typically between $100 and $250 stipend, depending on the work. Like if you're installing the whole show versus, X, Y, or Z. But typically we handle install, we handle those costs. Photography, all of our shows we get professionally photographed. We get that documented. We make those available for you. We cover those costs. And then artist stipends. You're having a group show of 4 artists, and they're making work for this show. We do provide artist stipends. Sometimes we'll ask for helping us with a workshop in return, or maybe doing an artist talk in return, but that's all kind of worked out through the contract together. And then additional professional fees, should something come up, we deal with that. The cost of our space, AAP rents our space. We cover the cost of that. We cover all the costs of the utilities during the run of the show. Transportation, It's on the artist to get the work back and forth to AAP. If you need help, we'll do our best to help you. We all have limited car sizes, so I know what that's like, but you know, depending on the type of show, we can talk about that. Programs. This is where that varies. We talked about like with artist stipends and whatnot, like this is in additional materials or catering for that. Speaking of catering, if you've been to an AAP opening, kind of see our regular spread. We can tweak that for dietary needs, make sure that if we have gluten-free options or meatless options, depending on the artist in the show, the curator, theme of the show. We could, for example, with Brent's show, we worked with a local caterer of Filipino descent. So supplies, AAP covers the cost of getting the space exhibition ready, and we provide artists with standard hanging materials and tools. So we have like 2 or 3 drills here. We have hammers, we have screwdrivers, we have almost everything you would need, and the hardware to get it up there. If something special is needed, we tackle that as it comes. Printed material, we do checklists, labels, the title wall, that nice vinyl, a map if desired. However, if you want something beyond that, that's something to include in that additional budget item. Advertising and marketing, we typically take out an ad on social media. AAP covers that. And then commissions and sales, for the artist run shows, 60% artists, 40% AAP. So looking specifically on the online form, when you go into Slide Room, this is what you'll fill out. You'll fill out the first thing you'll do is fill out the role that you will play as the person filling out this application, whether you're the lead artist, the curator juror, or something else, or a bit of both. You'll briefly describe the exhibition. This is where you'll be briefed. You have that 5-page proposal to go big, bold, huge. But here, 1 to 3 paragraph of really getting at what your show is about. Taking just tidbits from that longer PDF and summarizing there. This is where you'll select your preferred dates. And this is where, if the exhibition has pre-selected artists, where you're listing below. If artists are to be chosen a la juried show, this is where you'll write that. For this part, for the needed info, you're going to put name, email, and phone number of every artist you're working with in the show. Talk to the artists that you want to work with before the show. So for example, our exhibition right now, You're Doing It Wrong, is an artist proposed show by Blaine Siegel. In it, we have Andrew Allison, Barbara Weisberger, Derek Reese, Leah Pakorski, and Blaine. Blaine talked with all the artists and let them know in advance that he would be putting their names on the application. He got them to agree to it. It can be a bit of a sore thumb, is sticking out when it's clear that like, oh, they haven't, asked artist permission, because we really do respect that you have the ability to say yes or no, my work should go in this type of show. So don't make any assumptions, talk to artists, just let them know like, hey, like something might come of it, something might not come of it, but I've been really thinking about putting together this exhibition on, teaching artists or, or looking at a plein air artist or whatever it is. And I came across your work, and can I include your name in this show? Would this be something you'd be interested in? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it goes somewhere, we'll talk a little bit further. So this is an idea of what it looks like on the form versus what it looks on that final PDF. This is cut and pasted from Cutting Holes Fries that Nicole and Senta submitted. So you can see here on the left is that online form. Those 3 paragraphs, really kind of short and sweet, just gives a little taste of what is here on the right, that longer PDF, kind of more formal response. You can see here on the left, they've had a little bit of fun, which we appreciate, but not necessary. On the right, they also included artist statements and bios and additional notes. but this is kind of that comparison. So you can see that on the PDF is where you can go large, but on that online, on the online form is really where you should hone in and summarize. So again, this will be available for you all to read, to consider, because, you know, this was one that was selected by the exhibition committee. So it gives you a chance to kind of, you know, get a sense of where their heads are at. These are images from that show. I have a whole list at the end of this presentation of the shows as well as their websites. So you can go look at them. They really do range. There's a lot of variety of what was shown. Okay, I think I did this one already. Oh, this is, I had an extra slide in there. I copied and pasted that for fun. So before we open it up for questions, like I said, this whole list of what's been shown through this program. We've had 8 exhibitions that our artist members have proposed, whether, you know, through that last formal process, or we had a process before COVID, where artists let us know that they had stuff going on. And then, of course, we had the pandemic, and so that put us on hold for a little bit. But you can see them all here, as well as their websites. That'll give you a chance to do that, to look at those. And again, we'll make this available online without my additional slide in there. So that is all for me. Well, not really. I'm just gonna mute myself and see if you all have any questions, specific or more general. Feel free to ask, whether you want to drop them in the chat and we can answer them there, or you can unmute yourselves. I'm here. Dawn, our exhibitions coordinator, is here. Isaac, our communications coordinator, and Lane, our fellow from Pitt. So the 4 of us are here and present to do our best to take note of any questions, if we can't answer them immediately, or answer them for you. So thank you all, but I will let you all ask away. Did I do just like such a fabulous job that there are no questions? Chuckle to myself.
I've got a question.
Oh, yes.
To become a member, can you apply to be a member anytime during the year, or is there a specific date where they accept applications to become a member?
So we accept membership applications during our open member screening. That opens usually early December, early January, and it's open for about like a little over 1.5 to 2 months. Artists submit 3 to 5 images of their work, your statement and your bio, and we have external jurors review and determine membership that way. We can also apply to our annual exhibition. There is a cost with both applications, $25 for the membership screening, $100 for non-members to apply to the annual. And you may be like, oh, that's a steep cost. We never want costs to prevent an artist from participating with the organization, so just reach out. But I will note that there is a cost with both. So the annual is the other option, but the more expensive one, and it's just 2 pieces, and it's not it's like a bigger like swing. But yeah, so there's 2 opportunities for membership throughout the year. Jen, you want to unmute yourself? Jen, do you want to unmute yourself, or I can jump to the chat?
Yeah, sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting. Thank you for all this information. I just had a few questions regarding some of the installation. In the past, when I've attended and participated, there have been pieces installed on the wall as well as on podium, or sorry, not podiums, I forget what they're called, but for sculptural elements. Is it allowable to have pieces suspended and or installed on the floor if they are, I would say, like self-contained pieces?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely, like right now, if you come into the space, it's always kind of with the warning that, like, unless we put something underneath them or tape, there's a potential that they might get stepped on. And it's like, depends like how precious the work is more or less. But right now, for example, Derek Reese has a piece in the space where like the table kind of looks, it's like cut up in a way that looks like it's either coming into the water or coming into the floor or coming out of the floor. So that's installed directly on the floor. So yeah, the brick can be a little bit tricky to hang things on, but we have worked with it before, so that's always a possibility. But definitely stuff on the floor, we're fine with that. Just maybe for you, nothing too precious. It's like, you know, the space is what it is. But unless we put like and we do have like a flatter pedestal or podium that we can put things on, that it can be closer to the ground if it is something more precious.
Thank you, Madeline.
See, Bernard, you wanna?
Hi. So in the budget, is there like an example of a budget? Like, I mean, when I had a gallery, I always knew I had $2,000 per exhibit. Is there a maximum amount that we could possibly know in case we wanted to plan the exhibit financially that way?
Let me see if I come, lets me go back. So here, sorry, I got a message on my screen that PowerPoint wants to access my camera, and I'm like, I don't know. Looking at this budget here, the max end, I guess, would be like, if you're like, I'm doing a big group show, you know, $500 on this end. Like if it was something like you're like, hey, like I want to do a mass mailing of like or I'm trying to think of something else, or like sent to Nicole, there was a printed piece that was funded through a grant from the Pittsburgh Foundation. But
Okay.
really kind of if, I guess like on the max end, it'd be like, you know, if you had 10 artists and in the show and you wanted to give them $250 each because they are creating like something new, that would be, then that show would be costing the organization $2,500 on the artist stipend end.
Okay.
The other kind of stuff, like you, like it could be like, hey, like I have big pieces, they're giant, sorry, Wayne has a Jeff Koons, they're giant inflatable pieces that I need to get brought to AAP, and I need to rent a U-Haul truck or something like that. Like that would be what would go in those additional things. We do have limits to what we do. It's not kind of like the sky's the limit. But it's almost like asking, we can say no, or asking, we can work around certain things, or come up with budget. But like, if, for example, if it was like you wanted a specific photographer that was outside of our budget, we might just say like, hey, we can't do that. Like we work with who we work with, and we have this contract, and it is what it is. I'm like, I could put in numbers here, but they wouldn't necessarily change. I guess maybe like the supplies end, and that would be like where these lines are. That might be where, as an artist, that you come in and have thoughts on stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I feel like I answered your question with a depends.
Quite all right. All right. Thank you.
Allie, did you have another question? Samira, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. I have the same question as someone who comments in the chat. The application to become a member window doesn't overlap with the proposal application. So is that where that $25 fee comes in, where if you're not a member, you can propose something and then later do you have to apply to become a member?
It really depends on the type of show that you're proposing. So say it's, you know, I'm proposing a show, and just because they're on my screen right now, I'm not a member, but I know Samira is, Jen is, and Bernie is, so I'm gonna put these 3 artists. I'm not a member, but these 3 artists are gonna be in the show. They're 3 AAP members. So then it would be predominantly an AAP show. So then that's where that $25 would apply. But if I, as Madeline, who's not an AAP member, wanted to have like a Madeline retrospective show, it would be that you would have to wait for the next cycle, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you.
Samira?
So I have a question about the proposal that I submitted a few years ago. And I still like the idea and the concept, but I want to, at this point in my life, I don't think I want to be so involved. I'm willing to have the committee take it over and run with it. So I don't want to go through making a whole new proposal, but kind of modify it and modify the concept a little bit. And I'm wondering how applicable is that?
I have John over here talking about like maybe if it was like a kind of proposing a juried exhibition along those themes.
Right, yeah.
I think what we could do, I mean, the proposal, how we did, we tried to like simplify and streamline it. So it's not that we can like copy and paste it in the same way. And it would still have to come through your email. I might
Mhm.
just ask you to bring your computer to the office one day and work with you and see if I can like copy and paste some of the language. Or Don or I could do it and just help you with the application on that end.
You mean to reword the whole concept?
No, just to copy and paste into the new, because it's a new application format, so we can't.
Oh,
So I was saying
I
like,
got you.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Because we
got
can
you.
pull that old application to your point, like we can pull that from Slide Room.
Oh, interesting.
But we can't just move it to the new one because they're different. They're not, it's like, we need something
Right.
comparable. So you
Right.
would have to
Mhm.
start a new application, but it can be that it's tweaked and it's a lot of
Right.
the same language from the previous one.
Right. And it would have to be edited because then I had specific people involved. And this time I'm not going to gather all these people. It would be more like you're choosing. Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
that sounds doable. And it's on my computer, but you really need you need me to bring it over.
Or, I mean, you could do it like, what I could do is download your old application and send it to you if you didn't have that language. But then you just start a new application essentially. And I say new, that you just start a new,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to like, it's not like
Right.
new.
Right,
Say-
right, right.
Yeah.
A new application with the same old concept, but
Yeah.
okay, I have limited mobility, but I think I can get there in the next few weeks.
Yeah, if that helps, yeah. And then we can help you do that and get that in there. If we need to do some things over Zoom or Google Hangout, we could do that instead. Yeah. So,
Great. So if it's done, then, and I think the question would be if I go through all that, would I then be considered, I guess the problem back then was it was to be was a curatorial problem. So I would not be a lead artist and I would not be a curator. I would just be the concept.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's why we have like that other line to define it as other, because for example, like with the Kathleen Zimbicki show that she was like, she was like, we need to do a show around what's going on in the world right now. Like we need to talk about like election, But like it was the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, like all this stuff was going on. And so she did serve as juror, but so did Tony Norman and Shayla QR Schaefer. So we had 3 jurors
Right.
and we had an open call. And so,
right.
but it could be that you're like, I don't want to serve as juror. Like there's leeway within, that's why we have like that other line. And that can be something that we can
Okay.
tweak for your concept.
Okay. Great. Thank
Heather.
you.
Heather, do you want to unmute yourself or should I jump over to the chat? Heather, feel free to interrupt me when you, oh, there you go. Oh, no, okay. All right, so looking at the chat, Daniel asked, can you talk more about what you're looking for in terms of proposed works? So this really varies on the medium. For example, if you're proposing a painting, you might have a sketch and take a picture of the sketch or upload a picture of the sketch of the work. Or if it's a performance, you might have a written description of what that performance is. If it's an installation piece, it might be a mix of both, like kind of like a brief sketch with text everywhere, like this is where we're gonna hang these things, and this is where we're gonna do that. So it really depends on medium. If you have like a specific one in thought in mind, we can do our best to answer. Peggy, who on the selection committee? Oh, Daniel, do you want?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I guess I was thinking if someone was proposing a solo show and all the work wasn't finished, some of it may be finished. It's just, I guess I'm trying to get an idea of how fleshed out you want, and you want an image or sketch of each work, the number of works, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you're like, I know I have 10 works done and I'm thinking about going for, 4 to 6 more works, and these are what these 10, or I have 2 works done and I want to go for 10 works, and these are the 2 look, and these are the sizes that I'm thinking about for the 10 works, because a lot of the proposed is about figuring out feasibility.
Sure.
Like sometimes it's like we were like, oh, like this artist submitted this beautiful proposal and like this wall is going to look gorgeous, but we have other walls. So it's kind of along those lines of giving enough information to allow that to visualize, whether that's a sketch or some written text, and along lines specifically around feasibility. Like,
Okay.
Are we going to have, there's a question of like too much work or not enough work, and that all depends on size and, if it's
Right.
sculptural, if it's on the wall, all of those things take into account.
Yeah, I guess once I see the floor plan, that probably will help also me understand what that is. Okay, thank you.
Who's on the selection committee, the exhibition committee? They're all artist members. And they make selections. Thank you, Don, for answering that. When are we notified of the results? Seconding this, or maybe what is the selection process? I think our exhibition committee will review these in either September. I think September is that meeting, or August. So when do you think? Sorry, I'm Dawn's in the office, so I'm bugging her. So if it closes August 1st, early September. So probably like early mid-September, but we'll confirm and we'll put that on the website. Because that's important to know as you're thinking about work and availability and what's going where. So we'll add that dates of confirmation one way or the other on the website. Scrolling down. Can I propose an exhibition for my own work? Prior to becoming a member? No, just AAP members for now, or if it's part of a larger group show. How many proposals do you typically receive? It depends. Like we've done this twice, and I think the first time we received around 20 something, the second time around 30 something. Because it is work putting this together, and the idea of kind of like what'll happen, or kind of like I've done all this work, Madeline. Like I want my show. I want it to happen. Which, sometimes AAP makes sense for it. Sometimes these proposals come to us and I go, hey, this university is looking for shows. Have you talked to them? Or, there's this other space as well. So they don't necessarily live or die within the proposal process, but I think last time we had maybe 33 total proposals. So that kind of gives you a sense. Don't know. Oh, I see Heather can't unmute. Oh no, sorry, Heather.
I can't unmute either. Unless I have unmuted and I don't know that I've unmuted.
I hear you though. I hear you.
Oh, good. May I say something while I am currently unmuted?
Yes.
I heard you mention something about someone had a retrospective. Mary Stark had a retrospective,
Yes.
and that was a proposal she made to you. But
Correct.
I thought you said something else about retrospectives that I may have missed. Did you? Like, is that possible as a proposal, or is that
Yeah.
not? No, it is. Okay.
Yes. No, if I come to scroll back here. So we've done solo shows that have been like a specific body of work. So for example, a permanent home in the mouth of, a permanent home in the mouth of the sun, which I think is the fifth one down here, works by Hannah Altman. That was a specific body of work that she had showed in Chicago as part of her MFA thesis, and then it was coming here. So that was just as an artist, that specific body of work, but then drawn from experience was really the last 40 plus years of, I'm gonna say 40 years. I don't want Mary to get mad at me. The last 40 years of Mary's career, from like, I think the earliest picture was when she was 17. And her high school art teacher had kept it. So when he retired, he's like, I know you're an artist now. So that truly was retrospective. So yeah, so up for either.
So the exhibition committee doesn't really have a preference for solo versus group shows.
No, I think it's just,
necessarily.
I think it's just kind of looking at,
Content.
what we're doing already, what's going out there. Like, we had this collaborative show with Nicole and Senta, this group show with Blaine, but before Nicole and Senta was a solo show with Wade Graham. So excuse me. So the last three shows have all been something different.
Okay. Thank you.
Madonna, I see your hands up. Oh my God, that was so funny.
Hi.
Madonna. Sorry.
All good. So I have a logistical question around, like, a lot of my work works really well with backlighting. So what would be kind of the logistics? Would it be something where I put in a budget item for like movie poster backlit frames? Or would that be like my own expense and then I keep the frames after the show? And kind of what's the logistics of wiring the electricity for that?
I would say definitely put them in there as an item, because it could also be something that like maybe something we can borrow. It's
Yeah.
one thing for like a fellow nonprofit to loan to a solo artist. No offense, you guys are all very
Right.
responsible. But it's another to be like, oh, this is a proper partner organization. We've done X, Y, and Z with them before. We need Madeline to do this down the road. So a little tit for tat happens in our world, and maybe we can get some from, I don't know, cultural, I don't know. But when it comes to wiring, we are limited because of how the space is. It's like right up against brick for
Mhm.
the two walls. So it's really just those kind of plugs there.
Yeah. So unless you wanted to have extension cords running along the floor.
Which we've done. And I always say, I'm like, it's a Pittsburgh space. Like right now we have on the floor with tape for Derek's piece. So there is a little bit of it's had a life. It was an ice house. They made water beds here, and now we're an artist space, and we have paint splatter on the floor. Like it's lived. So it allows for a little bit of fun in that sense. Like like a perfectly clean exhibition, like white cube perfect exhibition could work in the space and could really bounce off that in some ways, but it also allows for like a little forgiveness if you need to, move things here or
Yeah.
there.
And then I had a second question also, which is like, if I don't think I'll have enough work done by the exhibition dates, would it be possible to say like, hey, I want to have like a wall or two walls and then have the rest of the space be juried?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be,
And like with my stuff, it would be a theme like geometric or with light, something like that.
I think it like, I have Dawn in my ear over here. I think along the lines of like, if you would be open to like, this is my work and like I'm in a jury or I'm gonna invite artists that I know along those. And I mean, the invitational part of it is tough because we'd want to know their names. So if you were willing to say like, I will serve as a juror, or me and this fellow person in, trying to think, like, say you're a watercolor person, you're like, me and, like, I know this is my body of work that I want in here, and then, you know, Joe here also does watercolors, and so, or Joe just juried our last watercolor show, so Joe and I will jury the show together. So if you posited something along those lines, I think it would make sense. Yeah, you could make a note that you're open to flexibility. So I do understand your point of like, well, what if I don't have enough work? Which could be, you know, maybe an excuse to get to know the other members better and propose a show of 2 artists and like see if there's a way you can find an artist whose work meshes with you. But yeah, if it was something that you would say like, I can step up and juror in this sense, and the theme is, or like, you know, I've spent, you know, 15 years as a teacher of watercolor. I don't know why I'm leaning on watercolor right now, but it's just in the back pocket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for coming and asking such good questions. I'm going to come back here to that slide where we have a very important email. Like I said, I've had someone in my ear for a good portion of this. But if you have specific questions, Dawn at aapgh.org, that's DAWN at aapgh.org. Dawn is our exhibitions coordinator. If you've ever been to a featured artist show, Dawn is the one who puts that together. She knows the space better than anyone. Even me, I ask her questions about it, but should you have any ideas or any thoughts or whatnot, and then we're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can come see the space, check it out. We will be closed this Thursday and Friday, not tomorrow, but the following week for the holiday. But we're open, and we can even chat with you about stuff in the space as well. All right, well, we will end 10 minutes early unless anyone has any other questions. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.